welcome, welcome. Yep, Pets Talk. Yep, pet communicator Dr. Monica Diedrich joining me here today. Having a routine with your pets. This is so very important right now.
Good
It's
morning,
important for a lot of
everyone.
reasons,
Yes,
right, Dr. Monica? This is important for a lot of reasons, right?
yes.
We've gone through this period where people are all home.
Hmm.
That changed it. And then now people are going to slowly not be home, and that will
Right.
change it. Um, But tell me about what tell me about what animals must be going through now with it was almost like an immediate change. It wasn't like a slow thing. It was like one
Yes,
day you go to work and the next day you're not.
that's right. So, first of all, hi, everyone. Thank you for being here at Pets Talk. Listen, if we are going through some hard times, our animals are going through hard times too. And it depends where you are, right? I am in California, and just a couple of days ago, our mayor decided that we are going to be in quarantine until the end of August. August.
Wow.
Okay.
I didn't
We
hear
are,
that.
yeah, we are in mid May. So we need to think in terms of until the end of August, our life as we know it is not going to be the same. So again, it just depends where you are in the world and how much longer you have to go in. Maybe you go back to work, you're not going to be working the same amount of hours, you're going to be working just a few hours or just a few days. So today I wanted to talk about how animals understand the routine. Now, animals are all different, just like people. You have those animals that you are home now and you didn't used to be before, and they are loving every minute of the day. They have you all to themselves. Want to be petted, they want to be loved. They are in heaven. You go out uh, to do your walks twice a day, where before you only did it once, or maybe you even do it 3 times. Those are the lucky ones. So it's easy for them to get used to this new routine. But we have to think in terms of what happens to pets that are not people oriented. Those pets that are maybe older, they want their siesta time, and you are there all the time waking them up, telling them, come on, let's go, let's play, let's do this, let's do that, and the pet goes, enough already. So what do? They hide under the bed, they go to the laundry room, they go outside, they find a little spot. Why? Because it's an overload. It's an overload of love, it's an overload of you. So we need to learn how to balance these, and we really need to know our pet, which one it is, the one that we have. One of the things that you need to know is that a pet considers a new routine their new normal after 21 days. So that
I
means
didn't know
that,
that.
oh, yes, it
Say
is.
that again. Because look, this is this is your life's work.
Mhm.
Dr. Monica is the author of several books. We're going to talk about her new book.
Yes,
But you've seen this time and time again. What happens when there are changes in a family dynamic? We're talking about what's going through a crisis, but we could also be talking about a divorce or a marriage, right?
that's right. Any change in the routine, whatever they consider the routine, is a huge change for them. And so we were at the breaking point is 21 days. And I'll tell you why these 21 days are so, so very important. During these 21 days, an animal can tell you why they're upset about their new normal. If they move to a new home, or a teenager left the house to go to college, if they got a divorce, if they have a new man or woman in the house, this is a change of their routine and they need to get used to it. So sometimes we wait a couple of days and we go, why is he or she, in a bad mood? What is going on? Well, they're trying to adapt to their new normal, their new life. And we have to be very concerned about that. And in our mind, we have to try to do as normal, as routine as we can possibly find for them. So even if you move to a new home, you have to try to have the same times a day where you feed them, you walk them, or you do other things. What happens during this time is, let's talk about, for instance, a move to a new home. The sun comes out in a different place. The the house, it could be completely turned around. It was facing north, now it's facing south.
Oh,
They
yeah.
need to adapt to where the sun is at all times of the day. What happens when they walk? The smells are different, the road is different, the sounds are different. So it takes some time to adapt to these new circumstances. And there's so many things that I want to talk about today about adjusting to new circumstances that we really have to take one at a time.
And I wanted to say to everybody, if this would be good to get your questions here about this to Dr. Monica, 1-800-930-2819. If you could get your questions in about, well, wait a minute, yeah, my entire environment changed. I want
Right.
to ask you one particular question that I'm struck by. And I hadn't thought about it till something you just said, Dr. Monica. One of the things that happens, especially now with people home, is, well, two things. One, there's the internal environment, right? And what's going on. And then there are routine changes. So my friend said something interesting to me. She said to me, now since I've been home, myself and Rocky have been walking 3 times a day. Rocky is her dog. And I was thinking to myself, that sounds really good, but that is a change for Rocky.
Yeah.
And we went from, like, Rocky doesn't get walked 3 times a day to now minimally Rocky is walked 3 times a day, right?
Right.
In a public place with other people. What is the impact of that? Because this is not going to last forever, you see.
Exactly. And that can be a problem later on if she goes back to work and Rocky only gets one walk a day or sometimes two walks a day, but doesn't get the third one. Then, depending on the pet, remember each pet is an individual, but a pet can get really upset about the fact that he's not getting a third walk during the day. So he's not distracted enough. If he has a lot of pent up energy, he will be destructive. He will start peeing around the house. All these behaviors are a way of telling their owner the pet is unhappy and is looking for attention. And so, if she goes back to work and she cannot walk him for the third time, she can, not that will, but she can have some problems that she's going to have to deal with or talk to a pet communicator about, you know, getting Rocky to understand that she's
To
no
be honest
longer.
with you, Dr. Monica, I think people should be talking to a pet communicator now 24/7, because we are like in this place where I think almost everybody
Yeah.
pretty much thought this would be here and then it would be gone like in a nanosecond. And as you just said, and let's talk about this now, there's now a level of unpredictability and predictability about it. And so here you are in California, here we are in Seattle, Washington State, people all across the globe. And we are in states that have certain city municipalities that are making different game change rules, right?
Right. That's right.
And so I did hear something was going to happen in California. I didn't know it did happen yet. But what we're finding is that these changes, right, that are being made affect the owner, the human being, and therefore affect our animal friends. And when we come back from break, I want to talk about this dynamic, because we're not just talking about changing the routine, right? But we are talking about what happens to people as a result of the routine change. Therefore, is there any implication for our pet? pets.
Right.
Somebody said to me the other day, I think these conversations apply to dogs and cats, but I don't think they're going to apply to my bird. And I said, you got to listen to the show because I think Dr. Monica is going to have to talk to you about that little thought. If you don't think your bird, I was talking to somebody the other day, Dr. Monica, and usually when I talk to her, I, I don't notice the bird. But I was talking to her the other day and I said, do you have your bird next to your microphone? And she said, no. I said, wow, like what's wrong with your bird? So when we come back, we're going to talk about not only what happens, but Dr. Monica is going to share with you what you need to be doing about this now. Because just like with humans, we could create scenarios that can have long term effects. We want
Right.
to know what they are, what we can do. And by the way, what has to happen when we transition back? Are we going to be from that shock originally with now a house full of children? Maybe the TV's on 24/7 and it's never on. Now, all of a sudden, people are gone. That's what today's show's about.
That's
We're
right.
also taking your calls 1-800-930-2819. Also, Dr. Monica is going to talk to us about hot off the press, hot
Yes.
off the press new book. We'll be right back. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Yeah, we're talking right here. This is for sure a fabulous show, Pets Talk with Dr. Monica. Petcommunicator.com is the website if you want to check it out. Before we keep going, though, tell us about your book.
Oh, well, I have a new book. It's called Your Pet Called. It's only because I named it like that because I had a couple of incidents where the pet initiated the phone call to me. The pet called me to tell me something. Now, of course, these were pets that I knew very well, and so the owner didn't have to be on the phone with me, tell me I have a problem. The pet initiated the call. So I got a mock-up. It's so heavy. Your pet call, okay?
Nice.
So this is already on my website, petcommunicator.com. It is 500 plus pages. So it's a huge book. But in the book, I tell you about wonderful communications that I have, things that will um, make you realize that pets are different, that they have their own view of life. And these are just some of my very favorite communications that I had over the last few years. I didn't think I was going to write any more books actually because I had written five. And all of a sudden, this pet called me and I said, oh my gosh, I just have to put this on a book because this is like incredible, even to me. And then from then on, I started collecting some of the incredible communications. And, 500 pages later,
I
this
know.
book was born.
Well, I mean, that's what we're talking about too. Sometimes our pets want to be heard and they have to go through you because we're not hearing them.
That's
I'm
right.
always struck by the one picture of you with the lion. I'm always struck every time I see that picture. And for those of you out there, that is not photoshopped. So
No, it is
I
not.
wanted to say to everybody, that's Dr. Monica in a picture
Yes.
with a lion. I want to stop for a minute and talk about that
Oh, absolutely.
because
I had the loveliest time. I'll tell you about it.
did you tell me?
I went to visit my country of Argentina, and Argentina is one of the two countries in the world that have a zoo, let's call it, that you can go in and visit with animals. You have to visit one person at a time. It's not like, all these people come in. And they
Oh,
have to be very careful who goes in with them. And so they check you out. They make sure that you're not loud, that you have to be very center. So I go in to the cage by myself. My husband is taking pictures and I am next to this lion, which was so lovely, and he allowed me to kiss him, and he was just great. And all of a sudden, the person that was there handling the handler got really nervous. And he started looking at me and he says, "What do you have? Do you have something shiny?" And I said, "No, I wasn't wearing anything." And he says, "Well, stay very still because his dad is coming to check you out." I have all this on a video. Okay, it's not that I'm imagining.
Wow.
So the very old 15-year-old or older lion comes by, checks me out, smells me, goes in front of his son who was perched up higher, and talks to him, tells him something, and then he lays at my feet. So I have one lion here
Ah,
and one lion right there. And the handler was like, "Oh my God, nobody move, nobody makes any noise because this is like, it never happens." And so I was thrilled, obviously, because they were reading my energy. They knew that I wasn't scared, that I was just fine. And so we just took pictures and I exit the cage and, no problem.
but that's what I wanted to ask you about it because, we've been doing a number of shows and I want people to get to know you the way that we've gotten to know you. And, when people see pictures like that, they're not quite sure what to make. But I know and I knew there's a story behind that, but you said your husband's got that on video?
Yes, he
I
did.
would love to share that video because that to me is at the core of the work you do.
Yeah.
Because when people think about pet communicators, and that's what today's show is about, folks, this is where you can get some help today from Dr. Monica. Because what is it that is causing an energy that most of the time we don't really have a sensitivity about it? And you may or may not see the aftermark of this or the after effects of this until down the road. But this is now the time to become more and more and more aware
Yes, let
of
me
what
tell
you're
you
bringing in
something.
the effect, right?
Yeah,
Right?
let me tell you something that is very important for people to know, because
Yeah.
we have around us those people that all the strays in the neighborhood come to them. You probably know of someone like that. And then you have the next door neighbor that none of the strays come to them, but they always come to the same house, to the same person. And for those of us who are into pets, we realize that these people are special. And the only way that I can explain what happens and why these people find themselves surrounded by strays is because I tell my clients, you have a neon sign above you that only the pets can see, that says all pets welcome. And so that means that these people have a special energy within them that animals can see and sense. And that's why when they're in trouble, they seek that person and only that person, because they know this person is going to help him, or is going to, take him someplace, or is going to take him back home, or something that has to do with their well-being. And we have quite a few people like that, but people don't realize. They go, "Oh, it always happens to me. I'm out to lunch and I have this stray coming to look for me or coming to see me." That's why it is your energy, the one that is talking to your pets.
Yeah, and that's a large part of what we're talking about today, Dr. Monica, because we're talking about having a routine. And whether we know it or not, the routines in our life carry energy. They
Yes.
carry it with us.
Yes.
And everything from I'm used to getting up at 5 in the morning and going to the gym, and I have my routine there, and that's what
Right.
I do. Or this is when I make dinner. This one, but we are almost acting right now as if our animal friends, our pets, cats, dogs, whatever they are just going to go with the flow of what we're doing without any impact. Now, here's what I want to say: there is an impact on humans now. I
Yes.
don't know why we don't think that this could have an effect on our pets.
That's right. And the one thing that is very important that people understand is that our emotions, our frustrations, everything that we go through in our days is energy, and animals feed off of that energy, and they show it to you in different ways. Like if you have a bird that is usually quiet and you are stressed, the bird is going to start screaming. It reminds me of birds because of course I have birds here and you probably heard them. They are not stressed, but they're mating, so they're really happy campers. But this is what happens, whether it's a bird, whether it's a snake, a dog, cat, or a reptile, whatever it is, they feed off of our energy. So if during this quarantine time we are upset, nervous, preoccupied, how are we going to pay our bills if we cannot go out and work? Don't you think that you have within you that energy that follows you around every day, every moment of your day? And that's why it's important for you to know, not that you're going to be able to change it, because when you're worried about something that important, you probably won't change it, but so that you know your animals feed off of that energy. If you have a bird that all of a sudden starts plucking their feathers, it is not the bird's fault. It's usually your fault or something of their routine that has changed in their home. And they're showing you, I am stressed. I don't know how to handle this stress. So I'm going to pluck myself, and I'm not going to have any more feathers. And that'll
Yeah.
show you.
Yeah. And that is something we're talking about today, because for those of you that are listening, whatever it is, the routine you have, we are all affected in some way.
Right.
Don't you want to know what you might need to be doing now to make sure that we are having a good, perfectly transitional time between you and your pets right now, whether it
Yeah.
be in the house or in your routine or all of the above, and then what to do as you move forward.
Yeah.
But the things that are happening now are emotional. There may be a family member that's passing away. You
Oh,
may be, as a couple, fighting more.
yeah.
That's the new statistic.
Let me tell you about a family member that has passed on, because you usually think in terms of, well, a human passed and, the animal is acting out. Just last week, I had a consultation with a blind cat. This blind cat had a friend, also a cat, that was a little bit older than she is. And this cat got sick, and within days, he passed. Now, this cat was not only a companion to her, it was her seeing eye cat, because everywhere he went, she would follow. She would follow him by scenting him. So he died. What is the first thing she did? She went into a depression. She started peeing outside her little box. She didn't want to even get to the box. Wherever she was, she would pee. And so the client was very upset and confused. So she called me and we had a conversation. And so this little cat, all she needed to know, she's blind again. So she needed to go that she needed to know, sorry, that her friend had passed. She didn't know this. She just thought that he was gone and he had left her to fend for herself. So all I needed to tell her was that no, he was in spirit and he was not coming back. And then I gave her the choice of having another cat as a companion. And those are the things that we need to discuss with the animals when there is a death in the family. Another story. This is a long time ago. I had a cockatiel that was very loud and very obnoxious. And so the owner asked me to have a consultation with him. Well, it just so happened, I didn't know this, that it wasn't a real owner. She was fostering him. And the bird told me that his owner had passed away in front of him,
Wow.
that he had seen him collapse on the ground and that he was beside himself and he didn't know what to do. And that's why he was screaming, because he was so anxious and so upset. And a third one, and that one is on my book, Your Pet Call, is about a dog that was on a kennel at home. And he told me that when he was in the kennel, he saw someone that he knew come in the house. He heard two shots, and then he smelled the warm blood as it poured down the tile on the kitchen. So a boyfriend came home, shot his estranged girlfriend and her daughter. And while all this time he was in the kennel and he couldn't help. So therefore, right now, he cannot see a kennel. He cannot go in a kennel. He cannot be next to uh, a kennel of any type, shape, or form. And that
Mm,
is the reason why.
wow. These are the times that we're living in. And for those of you out there, if you want some insight into your animal friend, your pet, please give us a call. 1-800-930-2819. If you want to find out and schedule your own time with Dr. Monica, you can go to petcommunicator.com. When we come back, what we're going to be talking about is what happens in the impact of the change in people, either in your house or out of your house. But what happens? What can we do to be more mindful of this? We're going to be talking about that when we come back. Stay tuned, everybody. I'm Dr. Pat. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Dr. Monica is in the house. We're taking your calls, 1-800-930-2819, or go over on Facebook. We're taking your messages there as well. Facebook.com Transformation Talk Radio. And Dr. Monica, you were just telling me about what you've just posted, what you have on your Facebook about what we were talking about during the show. Because
Right,
I said to you, okay, I've been living here 10 years. Now all of a sudden there are two snakes that want to reveal themselves to us
right.
here. And I
And
and you said, well, yeah, these animals are coming out everywhere. And
yes,
how do people find out more about you? How do they book a session with you? And you said you posted some pictures on your Facebook. So let's talk about that too.
right. My Facebook page is it's not in English, unfortunately. It's Doctora with an A, DRA, um, Monica Diedrich. And if you go and visit that page, you'll see that I posted a clip of animals around the world and how they have overtaken the cities. It's wonderful. You see animals all over the world, from wallabies to crocodiles to uh, um, what else? Oh my gosh, I cannot remember right now, but all over. And you have little clips, and it tells you what city and what country they're from. And it's just so interesting to see that, because no one is on the street, the animals have retaken, their habitat, you can call it, and they are really enjoying walking down the streets of the world. So it's a fun little clip, and you can go and visit. So let's
Cool.
talk about my website. Is simply called petcommunicator.com. You can go visit. There's a lot of information there, but if you want to make an appointment, then my phone number is up at the top. Call me. Let's book an appointment for you and your pet if you have any problems, any behaviors, anything at all. If you're interested in my new book, Your Pet Called, then please go ahead and look at Books and CDs tab, and you will have the new book. But today, just to celebrate that I'm having a new book, I don't have the new books yet, but I do have my fifth book. Okay, and it's called For Pet's Sakes Do Something. This is my book three on a series of books, but you don't have to read the series one after the other. It's How to Heal Your Pet Using Alternative and Complementary Medicine. Especially nowadays, you can rush out, every 5 minutes to go to the vet. How to help you treat your pets at home. And I'm going to be giving away two of these. Two of these. Okay. So let's put your name down and see who wins, and you can enjoy the book and read it at home.
Awesome. Okay. So I made a statement before, and I want to get back to it because that is what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is, look, what about the routine in our lives? What about what we're doing on a day to day basis? What does this mean when you have the dynamics in the family change, right? And I think that that is an understatement. I think that's an understatement right now for what's being revealed that's happening. But these are extraordinary times. I don't know how long they'll continue to be like this, but we really have disrupted the routine of our pets, of our animal friends. There's no question about it, unless you have not been affected by it. And certainly some of us here, some of my staff has not in the same way. uh like Benny, for example. Benny, the network that Benny is, the KKNW, those people are essential workers. A lot of them have had to come in also with us, but that's not the general case. There have been changes. What are some of the other changes in routine that could happen, and what is the effect?
Right. Well, I would say that one of the most important changes is what time are they fed, for instance. If you're waking up later now and you're feeding your pets later or earlier, it doesn't matter, but at a different time, and then all of a sudden you're going back to work and it's 2 hours earlier, your pet might not eat because the routine now is used to eating later. So, you can't get very upset. You have to give your pet enough time. And do you remember how much time, Dr. Pat? How much time? 21 days.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's the time they need to adjust to the new routine. Okay, so
But that this is why we're talking about it,
right,
because
exactly.
yeah. So we never thought, look, okay, maybe I'm being a little naive, but I don't think people in general, and you and I were just talking about what's going on in your city before the show. I don't think folks really thought about the fact that this was going to go on past 21 days,
That's
but it
right.
has. So we
Yes.
are really in the cycle of this now for our pets, aren't we?
Right. So now, because we are over 21 days, this is their new normal. So now they have a normal routine. They know when they're eating, they know if they're walking, they know that the person is going to be inside watching TV, they know to get on the sofa, whatever it is. This is their new normal. So we are okay. But the new normal is going to change again once we are able to go back to work and we do other things. Some people will have a completely new normal life, because let's face it, some places have closed down. You cannot go back to work there. You're going to have to find another way. But what happens is from today to tomorrow, you have a new routine. Well, it's going to be very tough on your pets. I'm not going to lie to you. They're going to miss you terribly because now you were home 24 hours a day and the next day you are out 12 hours a day. So, the one of the things that I always suggest is for you to keep things as normal as you can, like breakfast and dinner. Take him out for a walk, even if you have to get up half an hour earlier. Get them their walk before you leave. I can't stress how important is their first walk of the day and their last walk of the night. If you can do it, you should make sure that you always do that. And then When you are gone, I would leave either the television on, if you leave that on all the time, or the radio on, because it is important for them to adapt themselves to at least hear someone talking, like talk radio, just leave it on. And eventually they'll realize that you are not home and they can go back, hopefully remember to do what they used to do before. But in the beginning, it's going to be tough. And you're going to come home, you're going to see some things broken, some things out of place. You're going to have very unhappy kids for the first how many days?
21,
21 days. You got it.
21. Yeah. And let me ask you this. I mean, this is something I've noticed. And I don't know if this is a thing or not, but I would like you to comment on it. Um, in the neighborhood that I'm in, I go out for my walk, and what I was used to seeing is, one family member or the other would walk their dogs, let's say, for example. What I've noticed is that's not the case anymore. There are different people walking the dogs, and sometimes there is like two or three family
The
members that
family.
walk the
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
Does something like that have an impact, or is that not such an impact?
No, as long as they get their walk, it doesn't really matter how many people are walking them.
Got it.
But for them, the more the merrier, because remember, when we're talking about dogs, dogs are pack animals. So they need to go on a pack. If the whole family goes there, the happiest of campers. But if at least one of them goes, it's better than nothing. What they need to do is they need to go out, because for a dog to go out on their morning walk is like for us reading the newspaper or watching the news on television. They know things that happen in the neighborhood by their smell. So that's why it's so important for them to have that.
So, look, I love that you've got a new book coming out, because you're really getting down and sharing the intimacy, the nature of what you do to help both the pet and the owner. And I think that, the fact that the animals called you to write the book is that there's a message they want us to hear, and through you and through your voice. I want to ask you this question. I don't think it's a coincidence that this has come up for you, and here we are talking about it. And are the kinds of issues coming up now where people are calling you, are the kinds of issues different that people are bringing to you, or are is it just the times we live in and there maybe are more of them?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the question is very good. Actually, the problems that people are having are problems that I have seen all along, except that they were very centralized to one person's problem. But right now, we have the same problems, but there are more of them. So, I have to be so happy and lucky to be working in this area, because since this pandemic, I am busier now than I was before. And it is because people are home and they're noticing. Now they're noticing what their animals are doing, and they're getting concerned about it. And that's why I'm getting so many calls. And they're different things, but they are behaviors. And we need to figure out the reason why they're doing certain things so that we can help them and move on. And by the way, you're talking to an animal communicator, and what I say to people is I'm going to be their translator. I am going to translate to you what they want, what they need from you, why they're doing what they're doing, how are they feeling emotionally, physically. And so you can do something about it. So the end result is always better when the client can change their ways, listen to what the pet is saying, and do something about it. And that's the bottom line. So I try to help them see what needs to be changed, and between them and me, we are changing the ways. That's all they want.
Look, I can only imagine. I don't have I don't have Travis now. Um, but I don't think I've ever talked about him. When we had him, this was a collie that looked just like Lassie, full of, what do they call it? Full grown. No, that's not the right term. Full sized collie.
Yes, I
Usually
caught it.
we see the little Shelties, right?
Right, but they're a different breed. Yes,
Different breed.
yes.
Fell in love with this dog the minute I saw him. Didn't know anything about how to pick a dog out. Usually I got my dogs, they were strays or something like that, right? But this one, I was out there and he literally got our attention. And what I learned about this particular dog and what we had to do to keep him alive. I mean, I literally renovated my vet's place and got my vet a Mercedes because I wasn't willing to give up on him. Even after we were told after 13 weeks, don't keep him. His hips were at the whole thing. We had him 13 years.
Wow.
13 years of love. Unusual, first of all, for a collie, a purebred collie like that. 13 years is like, seriously?
Yes, that's a lot.
But I moved him. I moved him, and he went through a lot of changes. And one of the things I found interesting in my journey with that is I had to figure out a way for him to still be part of the family that we had. And my friends thought it was really odd that I would have him split his time. I mean, it sounds a little bizarre now that I'm talking with you about it. I mean, I'm just hearing myself like, "What? You flew your dog back to New Jersey for 6 months, but didn't have you to talk to. Didn't know what would be the right thing to do." Um, but he also experienced something interesting because I was off to work for a good 10 of those 13 years.
Hmm,
Every day we'd go off to work, he'd be home, da 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 da, all that. And then I wasn't. And
mhm,
then I was with him a lot. I
right.
mean, he and I spent half days up on Capitol Hill. Yes, Capitol Hill is where I moved in Seattle. But there was something about him. He was so almost human in nature, almost psychic. And I wanted to talk to you about this because I don't think that he was alone. I think dogs have their radar, but this particular dog was pretty psychic and he would communicate with us in different ways. So for example, if there was something that he wanted and he was not getting and we're watching TV or the football game, and this is a big hairy dog. This is not like a teeny dog. uh, Before we had 65-inch TVs, he would literally plop himself sitting up tall right in front of the TV. That was him. But the question is sometimes we're not aware of the sensitivity of our animal friends. We're just not aware. And I'm not saying we all can gain that level of sensitivity that you have because you are the pet communicator. So I don't think any of us are going to be jumping into like a cage with lions anytime soon. But we have to become more aware right now. We
Yes.
really do.
But I think that as a society, we are becoming more and more aware of our pets. And you are absolutely right. All pets come with a mission, a plan of action. And some of them are so intuitive to what you need, you as the client or as their human, that they become your partner, very much like the military dogs are partner with a soldier, and throughout their lives they might have more than one soldier to partner with,
Right.
uh, right? So that's what happened. They know their mission in life. I have a client who is a psychologist, and she takes her dog to work every day with her. And this dog will work with the children that are traumatized so that they can relax enough to be able to talk to her, or the would talk with will be next to an adult who is difficult to express
Mhm.
his feelings, and he's able to express them better because this dog is next to him. So dogs that have a mission in life are very good at what they
Mhm.
do, and it's almost like they can read your thoughts and know exactly what you need out of them. Not every dog is that. There are dogs that are nurses that
Right.
all they need to do is sit next to their owner and just become their nurse. There are dogs that are babysitters. That's all they do is babysit their babies, you know. And so, but they each have a plan of action, a mission in life. And we have to be aware and be looking into that so that we get to
Yeah.
understand them better.
Now, we only have a minute left, but this might be something we do in our next show. One of the questions that came in from Julie is, I just want to know, are all animals the same? And I think this would be a great topic for our next show. Basically, what Julie is saying is, do my cat and my dog act the same? And I think your book is really going to talk to this because I think this is a great question. I think that, for one of the shows, maybe the next show, we could talk about, how we think. All of our animal pets, all of our animal friends are the same. But it's fascinating to really hear it from your perspective because I would venture to say not everybody that walked into that lion's cage there had the same reaction you had, right? So we know we know that can't be the same. I hope you post that video. Dr. Monica, thank you for today. Would you let people know the best way to schedule time with you, how they can find you, all of the above?
Right. So you go visit petcommunicator.com. My phone number is at the top of every page there. And you have some information on me, how I became an animal communicator. So call me. We can schedule an appointment. Usually you have to wait a little bit, but it's well worth your time and your animal's time to have a consultation. And my new book, Your Pet Call, is available, and we will see you next time with more information on pet stock. Thank you for
Right.
having me,
Thank you
Dr.
all.
Pat.
Yeah. Thank you all for tuning us in and turning us on. And, please reach out to Dr. Monica as these situations arise because she has a solution. I mean, basically, been spending a lifetime of not just working with her clients, but teaching others how to do what she does. And this is the time where you have to think about, how might I go about this? How might I lessen the impact of this with my animal friend? Thank you all for tuning us in. We'll be right back.